Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward. Hello, my haunted hearts. Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast, Paranormal Talk with Heart and Soul. Tonight's segment is pre-recorded, streaming on United Public Radio Network 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast, as well as YouTube and any place you find your favorite podcasts. I'm your host, Kat Ward. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Before we journey into the mysteries of the unknown on this Remembrance Day, because this is pre-recorded, I'd like to thank the men and women who have served and are serving our great country. Thank you for your services and for the freedoms that we hold dear. You've served with courage, dedication, and sacrifice. Thank you so much, lest we forget. So, folks, I have another fascinating guest for you tonight. She's a spiritual teacher, healer, and master of the Akashic Records, a realm set to hold the memories and wisdom of every soul that's ever existed. My guest, Amy Robeson, helps people unlock their soul's purpose and connect with divine truth through this ancient energetic library. Tonight, we'll explore what are the Akashic Records and how they can help us heal and what mysteries they reveal about who we really are. So please help me welcome Amy Robeson. Hello, Amy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here. I forgot to mention before we started recording that this is going to be released on November 11th, which is our Remembrance Day here in Canada.
I love that.
Yeah. So, Amy, you've got such a fascinating background. You went from the corporate world to being a healer, spiritual teacher, Akashic master. Can you share what first drew you to the Akashic Records and how that discovery changed your path and actually helped you heal that nasty tailbone break, or was it a crack?
I cracked my tailbone twice in my life.
So, ouch.
Yeah, I cracked my tailbone twice, and so my path has been interesting. My stepdad was a severe alcoholic. Growing up, we walked on eggshells, and I come from a line of very intuitive women in my family. And so my grandma was a tarot card reader, an astrology reader. And so I was always fascinated with like angels and crystals and things like that growing up. And so I've been tapped into this world for quite some time. As an adult, I didn't realize it until I started digging deeper into the metaphysical stuff, where I realized like, oh, wait, I've been around this my whole life. So I found the Akashic Records when I cracked my tailbone for the second time. I was in a very depressed state. I just moved from my hometown into another state and to be with my now husband, and I cracked my tailbone. I wasn't able to do the things that I used to do that I loved, which was yoga. And yoga, I found great comfort in, because before, in my early 20s, I was in a very depressed state where I didn't want to be here anymore. And I started getting intuitive guidance to go to do yoga. And so when that was taken away from me, I had to ask myself, well, one, like, I don't want to go into a black hole where I feel like I can't get myself out of it. Yeah. And then two, what have I been wanting to do that I haven't done yet? And that was meditation. I wanted to learn how to do dream interpretation. I wanted to learn meditation. And the reason why I wanted to learn dream interpretation is because I was having nightmares of people killing me or being killed or watching something get killed. And so I wanted to understand why I was having those dreams. And so I found my first teacher. She had channeling abilities like Edgar Cayce. She was a trance medium. Edgar Cayce is the most well-documented psychic. He would channel information from the Akashic Records. And so I started on this path exploring what that is and exploring different tools that I just found interesting, so that I could use them someday. I didn't even know. I was just found them interesting. So I wanted to like learn about them. And little did I think I'd be teaching them. Little did I think I'd actually like be really good at them. And so for me, to answer your question, I found them in the darkest place, not thinking that I was looking for them. And then once I found them, I realized I've been accessing them my whole life because I would know things from when I was a little kid that no one would tell me. And so it was just more about remembering that I have access to them.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, sometimes you have to, the saying, you have to be in the dark to be able to find the light. And
Yes.
that definitely was. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for listeners who may not be familiar with the Akashic Records, what exactly are they? Are they really like a library of souls, or is that more like a metaphor?
It can be a metaphor. The cool thing about what the records is, they'll meet you where you're at. So if it makes sense for you to sense or see a library, they'll show you that. For me, I don't see it as a library at all. Some of my clients see it as a library. Some of my clients see it as like a field, like where you're just in nature. For me, I see it as, and I'm going to put in quotations because I don't necessarily see it. It's just this knowing where it's like, it's a field, it's a database of energy. And so what the Akashic Records are, is it is a field of infinite possibilities. Every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted is recorded in the Akash. And Akash means space in Sanskrit. It's recorded in the Akash. We can tap into the Akashic Records to receive love and guidance and support in any and all areas of your life. And so you can think about it as like a computer database of your soul. From the moment your soul comes into existence, so when your essence is developed, it starts recording in the Akash. Everything is energy, and so everything is recorded in the Akash.
I had listened to an interview you had done, and for whatever reason, when I heard Akash, I was just like, oh my God, because I've always heard it referred to as Akashic Records or their records. So when you said Akash, I was just like, it really threw me. So you taught me something.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that does make sense.
Well, you got to keep in mind, like ancient languages, like, you know, like my name means beloved in Latin. So it's like there's words that are derived from other things. So yes. What does that actually mean? And where did it where was it derived from? If we look at it from like a Christian's perspective, it's also known as the Book of Life. And so the main thing is like, I don't even care about labeling it because it doesn't really necessarily need a label. It is this field. It's this energy that computes everything and holds everything so we can access it and understand it. And it is not a fixed, it's not fixed. It transcends and it transforms as we transform and ascend as well, because it's so vast in its intelligence.
That's interesting. Wow. The first time I heard about the records a few years ago, I was just like, what is this thing? If somebody has really good intuition, is that a certain kind of a way that they're accessing the records without even knowing it? Or is that something completely different?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. So I had been accessing the records since I was a kid. And so when I learned what they were, I was like, what is this? And so then when I learned how to access them, I was like, I've been accessing these my whole life. Like this is no different than what I have been doing. The main thing is here's the thing, is you want a clean, direct point into the Akashic Records, because what happens for some people is they will blow out their energy figuring out a way to get the information.
Gotcha.
And so it causes this distortion, this blowout, this imbalance inside of their physical body, because they're energetically reaching for an access point. And so we're really clever. We're very multidimensional. We'll find that access point. And so when you're like, the record starts speaking to people when they're ready to study them. And so when, like, you were like, what is this thing? That's a normal response for someone that's like, oh, like, let me learn more about this, because this feels, I don't know what this feels like, but I need to know more. And for me, it was like this coming home experience where it's like, oh, okay, I got it. Now I have a clean access into it again, as an adult. And then, so we want a clean access point. We don't want to blow out our energy. So there's that possibility. And then some people get their intuitive information from the astral plane as well.
Okay.
So that there's many different ways that we get intuitive information.
I like how you mentioned that somebody might see it as a library. Is that because it just helps them visualize?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So the guardians, also known as the masters, teachers, and loved ones, will always meet us where we're at. And so they will explain something to you or share something or appear in a certain way so you understand, or you have a depth of understanding. It's consciousness meeting consciousness. And so if you have an aversion, let's say like, libraries are the most boring thing in the whole wide world they're not going to show you a library. Like, that is not, but you feel that peace in nature, and there's a bunch of trees. That's how it's going to appear. You don't have to also see anything either, because some people, their knowing's very strong, or their clairaudience is very strong. And so they don't have to see something in order for it to be there. But the guardians will always meet you where you're at. So if you're a very sarcastic, funny person, they're going to have sarcasm and humor and things like that. If you are a very serious, analytical person, they're going to talk to you very analytical and in the way that you would understand, in terms and slang and words that you use as well. And then this is the cool part, they'll also introduce new words that have never been in your vocabulary, which I find fascinating, because I'm like, what is that word? I've never used that word. I've never heard anybody use that word.
Look it up.
Yeah, and then I'll look it up and I'm like, oh, that's fascinating.
I don't think the camera could see it, but I was going, you can look it up. So that's really showing my age, because I'm physically looking through a dictionary.
Dictionary?
Google.
Let's go encyclopedia too.
So can you walk us through how you access the records? Is it through meditation, intention, vibration, or something else?
Yeah, so I teach my method inside of Sacred Awakening. It's my signature program, where I teach people how to open up their Akashic records using crystalline energy and a prayer and invocation. And so it's really important for us to work with the crystalline energy. And so the crystalline energy, which is like crystals, work as keys to unlock your Akashic records. So it's a combination of working with the crystalline energy. We hand pick crystals for each student. The guardians pick them out, and each person has a unique set of keys. And we use that in an invocation / prayer to open them. And I teach it all inside of our Akashic record program called Sacred Awakening.
Have you ever watched the television show, The Librarians? Or are you familiar with it?
No.
It's a fun little campy show where they have this library, but only the chosen are able to access the library. And if there's various magical artifacts in the world that need to be retrieved, the library lets them know. And so whenever I hear of Akashic Records, I always envision that TV show, The Library. So it's kind of
love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dimensional thing. It's not an actual physical place. It's really neat.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing, because I don't know if you've ever seen Beautiful Creatures.
Yes.
Okay, so you know how like in that movie, which is a book series, in that movie they show this like hidden library that
Mm,
has this knowledge. And so like that kind of reminds me of the Akashic Records too. So it's like there's all these little things that will remind me of it.
yeah.
And then there's things that I don't know why, but like certain sacred geometry or like a certain smell or something like that. But the thing is everything's held within the Akashic Records. And so there could be this magnificent library that you're used to visiting inside of there because there's spaces within spaces within spaces within the Akashic Records. And so what is it that you're tapping into that's familiar?
That sounds like the TV show The Librarians. It's funny.
I've never heard of it. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, they have two of them. One of them is can't remember. It's almost like the next chapter type thing. So the series ended, and then they redid another one with other actors. But I really love that show.
Do they have a book series or is it just a
I
show?
don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I have to look it up because if there's a book, I'd rather read the book than watch the show. But I'll have to see it. I want to see it now.
It's just fun. Do you recall a very old show called Relic Hunter? I don't know if you had that in the States.
That sounds familiar.
I can't remember the name of the actress. She was a professor, but then she would go and look for relics. It's kind of like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, that kind of, it's kind of fun and there's lots of laughter. Yeah, it's a fun show.
I have to check it out.
So is everyone able to access their own Akashic records, or does it require specific training or permission?
So you definitely want training. So if you're looking and someone resonates with you and it makes sense for you to do their training with that person, do that. If that person doesn't resonate with you, don't do the training with that person. Find the person that resonates with you. And I tell people all the time, like, if I'm not your cup of tea, don't go find someone that is, because the records will speak to people when they're ready. And I'm a big believer, and it's really important to be trained, because depending on how you're utilizing the records, and there are so many different ways people utilize the records. And so you got to find the way that makes sense for you to utilize them. For me, I utilize them for everything. I want to utilize them for the past, the present, and the future. I want to utilize them to heal, but I also want to utilize them for like business strategy and health stuff and communication and having a better understanding of myself. I also want to utilize them for fun. I don't want to utilize them only for healing, because that would be a really heavy tool that you're not utilizing to its fullest capacity. But there are some people that's the only way they want to utilize it. And so whatever way makes sense for you to utilize the tool is great. And so the cool thing is you have to keep this in mind. Everything about you is recorded in the Akashic Records. And so when you're working on something, let's say you're working on a business plan, the guardians are going to take into consideration everything about your soul, everything your soul has ever experienced, everything your soul wants to experience. And then they'll answer it from that perspective. They're also considering everything about your ancestral lineage from this lifetime as well. And so with that information, it's not just here, let's answer this question. They're looking at everything about you. So the answer can actually serve your highest good for your evolution, because it is a self-discovery soul evolution tool.
And because everything about your life is there, it might guide you into a path that you don't even like. What? That doesn't sound like me.
Right. But they will never share something that's not in alignment with you.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say I go on records and I'm like, I want to be a medical doctor. And I'm thinking about going back to school. how is this in alignment? How is this out of alignment with me? They're going to tell me, one, like if it's in alignment, if it's not in alignment. Even if it's not in alignment, they'll give me the steps to take to do it, because I have free will and it's up to me to decide what that is. This is the important part about understanding how to utilize the records, because if you're not asking the right questions, you're not going to get the results you want. So by me asking if this is out of alignment and why, that saves me time and understanding.
Oh, so if you ask why it's not a right path for you or whatever, and it's explained, then maybe you can take the steps to prepare yourself for that path.
Right. So I'll give you a better example that's like everyday life. So I was living in a different state, and I needed to take my car to the car dealership to get service done. And it's a 45-minute drive. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll work at a coffee shop and while I wait or whatever. And I looked up a couple coffee shops, and there was this really cute coffee shop, and I got a no. No. And I was like, but I want to go. Like, this is really cute. I want to go. And so I call up the coffee shop because I want to understand why. And they're like, oh yeah, we have tables, but we don't have Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So if I would have wasted my time and went there, I would not have been able to work on my computer that requires Wi-Fi. And so, sometimes we don't like the answer that we're given.
Yep.
And so we can explore in the records why. In this case, I was just like, well, let me just call them because it's probably something so stupid.
Yeah.
But I was getting very clear, this is not the right place for you to work today. And so I was like, well, let me go discover why. And I could have asked them, but I was just like, I wanted to know the main reason from them as well. And so this is the fun part about the records is you got to learn how to ask powerful questions. And if you don't know how to ask questions, you don't know how to deepen that experience, you're not going to get the results that you want. And so that's why we have students that have taken other courses, other Akashic record courses, and they didn't get the results they want. And the reason why is because they might not be utilizing the tool the proper way, or the method might not be for them, or they just want to go deeper in general. And so in life, it comes down to the questions you ask. And even like now, if we look at AI, if you're not asking AI the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. And so, it's this art form that we got to learn through curiosity and understanding and navigating that as well.
When you say that we're not using all the tools, it's kind of like my cell phone. I'm sure I'm not using like 3/4 of what it's capable of doing because I just don't know.
I have an iPhone, and like 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden, like I'm holding my phone up to my ear, which it shouldn't be, but I didn't have my headphones, and my ear must have hit something, and all of a sudden I heard, this call is being recorded. And I like pull my phone away. What? Like, what is happening? And there's a button now where you can record your live call with someone. And I was like,
oh my.
What? I saw that this little tab has been there since the beginning of time. I didn't know that it did that.
Oh, I have an Android, but I got to check that out. I didn't know that was a feature.
Yeah, so on the iPhone, and then I did it again accidentally when I was talking to my mom. She goes, are you recording this call? I was like, no, I just accidentally that's on accident.
Oh, that's funny.
But I'm like, yeah, but that's the thing about like even our computers or our phones, or even how many times have you like had something for such a long time, and it doesn't even have to be like a cell phone or something like that, but it's like, oh, I didn't even know that little compartment existed in my purse, or this that because it's like you're not really looking at it. And like, so what happens in the records is curiosity breeds and more curiosity. It will invite you to get more curious and more curious and more curious. And the question that will always invite more information is why, or tell me more about that, or what have you. And so it's like you'll start thinking in terms of questions instead of judgment.
Mm. When you open the records, what does the experience feel like? Or is that depends on the person?
Depends on the person in the moment.
Okay. Yep.
So a lot of times when we're entering someone's records for the first time, they're going into their records, either they're getting a reading or they're in Sacred Awakening and they're learning how to open their records for the first time. It can be a coming home feeling, like they feel this tremendous amount of love. It feels like home. It feels like they're being held, things like that.
So lots of energy.
Yes.
Yep. So as you had mentioned, the records are set to hold our soul's memories, past, present, and even future. How can that information help someone heal or find direction?
So if the guardians are talking to you about, let's say you're like, I'd like to manifest some more money in my life. And they start talking to you about money blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't manifest more money until you clear up this block.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to allow you to, one, become aware of the pattern, the story, the block, whatever it is that you're working on. And then they can give you the steps to heal it, or just actually talking about it is the healing experience itself, because there's acknowledgement, there's feelings being felt, things like that. And then there's processes too outside of that. But it just depends on what it is that you're working on, what it is that's coming to the surface, things like that. Mm-hmm. And then there's this self-discovery part where that in itself is extremely healing, because you're discovering new things about yourself. You're discovering how things work for you, how they don't work for you. You're connecting dots in ways that you might not have been able to connect before. They also are very good at planting seeds. Sometimes they'll plant a seed about something, you don't even understand what it means, or you have an idea of what it means, but then when it actually comes to fruition, where it comes, you actualize that thing and you're like, wow, that was way better than what I even perceived it to be. Or it's like, oh, I understand now what they meant by that. Like, I completely understand now what they meant by that. And it's like, it's a really cool experience to have.
That's kind of like an awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do the records ever reveal why certain people or challenges keep showing up in their lives? Is it because they're supposed to be learning something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you have a repeat pattern, and let's say you go into the records and you're like, this continues to happen to me. I'm so frustrated. And they might share the reason why. You might ask why. You might say, tell me more about this. You might ask a specific question about it. And then it's up to you on how down the rabbit hole you want to go. And if you want to listen to what they're sharing, because sometimes students have defense mechanisms put up where it's like, ooh, I don't want to go there today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to talk about that today. And it's up to you if you want to talk about something or not. But there's always a door into healing, into understanding. And so if something does come up and we're exploring that, it's like, why do I keep attracting the same type of person that constantly takes advantage of me? Or why do I always attract people that like to talk over me? Or why do I attract, whatever it is? And they'll tell you, they'll explain it to you, and then they'll give you steps to heal it too.
I get a lot of people telling me, friends, I always go for the wrong guy every time,
Mm-hmm.
the same type, and I always tell them, well, maybe you should start looking at a different type. So if
Yeah,
they're
because
open to it, yeah,
there's a frequency match there.
okay,
So
yeah,
when you change your frequency,
hmm,
you change your life. So when it comes to, um, attracting the same person every time,
yeah,
when it comes to attracting the same person every time, there is like a frequency match where this is what I am attracted to. These are the lessons that they can bring me. And
hmm,
until you acknowledge the lesson and what you've learned from the lesson, you will continue to attract that same person. And so instead of it complaining about it, it's important to get curious about it. What do they have in common? What's usually the lesson that I learned? Why do I feel that this is still necessary for me to continue to attract? And how can I release myself from this pattern?
hmm,
Because for me, like, it doesn't even matter if it's a romantic partner or not. We
yeah,
attract people in our life until we learn the lesson.
hmm,
And for me, I had this like many years ago where I was like attracting friends that I was always way more invested in the relationship than they were.
hmm,
And I was tired of it, like so tired of it. And then I was like, okay, like I recognize what the pattern is. I recognize that where my shortcomings are in this,
yeah,
and I'm no longer willing to participate in this, and this is the type of friend that I want.
hmm.
And within 2 months, I found that friend,
Oh,
like
nice.
really, really quickly.
Hmm,
And then that friend showed up for me in ways that no one's ever showed up for me. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, this
yeah,
is such a cool thing to see, witness, and experience. And I'm so grateful for that. And I haven't attracted those types of friends that always took advantage of me.
hmm,
Because of whatever reasons. And I just haven't. I haven't in like, I think I made that declaration in like 2018.
yeah,
Like,
wow,
so like it's been a really great way to see, witness, and to experience how quickly something can shift just because we're aware of it.
yeah. And then the intention, and you're putting out the positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, without breaking confidentiality, are you able to tell us what the most powerful or transformative reading you've ever done?
Yeah. So there's so many.
Anyone that sticks out in particular?
Yeah. I'll just rattle off a bunch of different.
Sure.
So I've seen lots of different past lives where, like we open the records and someone's about to get hung for persecution. So we clear that. We're clearing something where there's like a deep, deep self-hatred.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that's slightly different.
Okay.
There's deep unworthiness. And this unworthiness is caused by self-hatred, self-punishment. And so understanding why it's being caused can help the unworthiness shift and change.
Hmm.
I've seen people completely change their relationship with their parents. But what I will say, like, there's many stories, but what I've seen is we've had students that come in, they think of themselves as the color blue, just to give an example.
Mhm.
They think of themselves as the color blue, and within 3-4 months, they realize they've never been blue. They have always been yellow.
Ah.
And so it's like they get this understanding of this is who I truly am. And I've been covering myself up with all of these stories and all of these things, traumas, ancestral soul, everything. And then we just start peeling back the layers and peeling back the layers. And what happens is you change your own life. Like, I'm not doing it. You got to show up. You got to do the work, and you got to be curious, and you keep saying yes to you. You will change your own life. And the records do that.
It's funny you mentioned colors, because I do. Sometimes I'll be thinking of someone. Sorry, my dog just started barking.
Scattered.
I think someone's here. I'll be thinking of someone and I see a particular color and I'll Google what the shade is and I'll send it to them and say, does this make any sense? Because I could have 2 or 3 people with the exact same shade, but it doesn't have the same meaning. So I have no idea what the meaning is. I just mention it to them and they're just like, thank you. Yeah, I was going through something and this actually helped me. And I'm just like, oh, okay, you're welcome. So it's neat that you mentioned the color.
So this is what the Guardians talk about colors, because this has been a message for quite some time. So one, we are the full spectrum of light. We are the rainbow, right? And so when there is a dis-ease within the body, within the mind, within the soul, we're missing a color frequency. And so when we work with different color frequencies, that can bring us back into balance. And then there's some colors that can bring us out of balance. So like, I'm not a big person that wears a lot of black. Like, I'll wear black every once in a while, but it's rare if you see me with like a black t-shirt on and like a black, all black. Like, that's just not my thing. And it's because it makes me feel not good. Like, I don't feel good in that color. And so I just did a reading healing yesterday for someone, and the Guardians specifically told this person not to wear black on any part of their person for 2 months. Okay. Because there's this color frequency that wants to change. So like, I love that you're picking up on the colors, because it's a part of their healing.
It just kind of happens, and I feel like I have to message the individual.
I love it. I love it.
So working in those higher frequencies must require protection and integrity. How do you keep your energy grounded and safe when entering the records?
Yeah, so it's important to have grounding techniques. There's all sorts of different grounding techniques that you can use. For anybody that wants like a quick grounding technique, the breath is one of the most powerful ways to ground. You can anchor and breathe in, exhale out. Imagine your grounding cord rooting into the earth and connect and plug into Mother Earth. Like, I think plugging into Mother Earth is really important because it's a part of the human experience. And so the more we're actually in our body, the more rooted and grounded we'll be as well. The breath is also a really powerful cleansing tool. So making sure that you're breathing, things like that. Also using crystals is a really great, powerful grounding protection, things like that. And so, yes, and that is one of the most important parts of it, is because if you're not grounded and protected and you don't feel safe, it's going to be hard for you to trust.
Yep. Is there any kind of crystal in particular that you're attracted to?
Oh, I love them all. Like, I love them all. Like,
yeah.
I love them all. Like, I have a mookite one in my hand right now.
Oh, wow.
It's mook jasper. Like, I mean, you got blue kyanite with ruby.
Nice.
Some rutilated quartz, amethyst. Worked with a lot of coral this year.
I have selenite.
Yeah. Like, there's so many. Whatever you're attracted to, you can use.
Yeah, I remember being at a crystal shop before, and these 2 girls I was working with, I was there to buy crystal for myself and one of my friends that I worked with. And I kept going back and looking at this other crystal. I can't remember what it was. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to buy this. And I gave it to my other friend, my coworker. And when she looked up the meaning, it was exactly what she needed, whatever it was that she was going through. And she's like, how did you know? I'm like, I don't know. I kept looking at it, picking it up, going, I don't want it. And I'd walk away, but I kept going back to it.
Your culture.
Yeah.
And the crystals will do that because they know you can get them through their person.
Yeah. And I got the message. It's like, okay, well, it's probably not for me. I'll figure out, I'll know who to give it to. And yeah, it just so happened, and intuition was there. And so she was very, very grateful.
That.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I heard you say before on other podcasts that the Akashic Records connect across timelines, parallels, multidimensional, and it's also like, planets have Akashic Records, animals, like everything. That's really, would that sort of be something like, now this is going really scientific. You probably heard about string theory?
I have. I'm not 100% familiar with it, but yes, I have heard of it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have a scientific brain. I have a huge interest in it, but my brain just can't process a lot of it. But everything is connected through these strings. Connected to the laptop, connected to the house.
I call that enmeshment. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're enmeshed.
Would that be similar to that, I wonder? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, we're all interconnected. So, if you are, if you think about, do you have animals in your life?
Oh, yeah. I've always had pets with me.
Okay. And some of them felt like they probably were just dropped into your lap and they were meant to be a part of your life, I'm assuming.
Oh, did you freeze?
Yeah, we froze for a second.
Okay. Oh, no.
Yeah. Do some of them just feel like they just were brought to you, like they're a part of your family?
Even wild animals, especially chipmunks and squirrels, they'll just come up to me. And if I'm laying down, they'll just come up to me, and I'm like, somebody give me a peanut. And then, it's really cool. Yeah.
So, we have our soul families. We're all interconnected in some way, shape, or form. And, pets choose us just like we choose them. Like they're part of our path and we're a part of their path. And so I like using that as an example because it's like, oh, we're connected and they just feel like my soulmate. And similar with crystals too, with your friend, there's a connection to that being because they're crystalline beings inside the crystals that want to help us. They want to support us. And we're supporting them as well with their embodiment in the crystal itself. And so, there's this interconnection between all of us and everything, and how are we enmeshed? And so then there's this, I like to look at it this way. We are connected with people we choose to be connected with. We're connected with people we're in families with as well, but we don't have to be with them if we don't want to. We don't have to be with anyone if we don't want to. But there's this connection. And when we decide, okay, we're not going to be in a relationship anymore, there has to be some clear disconnection between that enmeshment that's happening. Because we can be enmeshed in someone's life and there can be caused codependency. It could be a healthy relationship too. There's the concept of consciously uncoupling, because we've created this consciousness as a couple. And so now we got to uncouple this experience. And so there's also if you look at addicts, there's this codependency, this thing that happens, and there's all these wires where you can tell where there's this heavy enmeshment, this heavy codependency, depending on what the relationship is, versus, let's say there's two children, and let's say one of the child is an addict. One of the parents is an enabler, there is a different relationship with that child and the enabler and the addict versus the ones that are not participating in the enabling.
Okay.
There's completely different wires, completely different attachments to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I again, I like how you used wires, because I have a friend. She was a guest on the show many years ago. She was a nurse, and every once in a while, and she's very gifted. She saw this one patient one time who, I think they were schizophrenic, and there was a whole bunch of other issues. And she actually saw all these wires, and she just had to pluck at them all. And then the person would just like, finally, I feel like myself again. It was just things that were attached to that particular patient, and this nurse saw it.
Yeah, I see them sometimes as energetic tentacles, depending on what consciousness they're plugged into.
I think that's the word she used, tentacles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was really, really interesting. So
yeah, just think about it as consciousness. There's all these different consciousness that we can plug into. We don't participate in. Someone that's plugged into, let's say, video gaming, they're going to be plugged into that. Where, let's say, you and I are super into crystals, we're going to be plugged into that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One is not better than the other. It's just, what are we participating in, and what consciousness are we plugged into, and how is that impacting us? How is it not impacting us?
Yeah, and that can change. I take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you could be watching playing some video games that are fun, lighthearted, and then you could be playing some video games that are super violent and causing your brain to be completely disturbed in many different ways. And so it just depends on what you're participating in and how, because, there's subgroups and everything. So it's like, there's a lot, I like using that word enmeshed, because it's just like, I just see it as like a metal strainer that has all of these different connection points.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just kind of stuck to the strainer until we decide, okay, I'm not going to be a part of that part anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still continue to be over here, but I'm not going to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Because it's just the existence, the web of life.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So for anyone who's curious but skeptical, what do you tell these people?
Well, if they're curious, to explore that curiosity. If they're skeptical, give yourself permission to get curious and explore it as well. I've had people, like, there has to be some degree of trust. You can still be skeptical, but there has to be some degree of trust. And I've had someone that is amazing and didn't really understand this world and didn't really get it, was super skeptical, but trusted me. Mm-hmm. And so I took them through past life regressions, and they're like, how am I seeing this? Like, this is insane, because they're having this experience where it's like, I'm seeing my previous self. My previous self is telling me this. I'm feeling all the emotions from that lifetime. Like, their mind's just blown. But there has to be some degree of trust, either trust in the person or trust in the tool, or both. If you don't believe, then why are you looking at it?
Yeah.
Why were you drawn there? Because that could be the reason why you're looking at it, is because you don't know why you're drawn there, and your belief systems are being questioned, because when we go through an awakening process, what old belief systems got you to this point will not get you to where you were, and those belief systems are ready to die. And so it takes a lot of courage to let go of belief systems that you were never in alignment with, but they got you to where you need it to be for whatever reason.
Yeah, sometimes I say, I can't remember how I word it, but I'm just going to use my example. Years ago, I wanted to go back to school, and the program that I wanted to get into, I needed to have my transcripts from high school. So I contacted the school, and they shredded them years ago. They said, yeah, if they're more than 25 years old, we just shred them because they didn't digitize a lot of them until a certain date, and then had no room, so they just decided we're going to shred them. And I'm like, great, what am I going to do? I can't get into this program without transcripts. So my husband actually found this program called academic upgrading, and I am so happy I took that, because I would not have been as successful as I was in my program, because I learned all these new things that, I've been out of school forever. So it was like, what's that saying? Can't remember. But yeah, just when you think something bad's happened and like, why, but it helps you lead to something like your end goal.
Yeah. And you probably wouldn't have wanted to do that unless that other thing happened. And that's the cool part, because you got to find creative solutions.
Yeah. So that was, I wish I could remember what that saying is, but anyways. So you mentioned before we were recording, if you don't mind doing just a general reading.
Yeah. So what I like doing for a general reading is usually I'll ask the host if there's something that you're working on or wanting support with, because then it gives me a better view of your types of people that listen to your podcast or watch your podcast.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Oh,
otherwise, go ahead.
I'm totally fine. Yeah. There's a couple of things, but yeah, mainly I think because I do have a paying job and I don't get paid for my podcast. I just want to know. And I keep saying that it's going to come. I just want to know if I'm going to be able to get monetized at some point. I'm hoping so. If not, I still love what I'm doing, so I'm still going to do it, but a little money would help.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think people realize how expensive it is to run a podcast.
Yeah,
it's very expensive.
Yeah.
If you're utilizing all the right tools and everything like that. So a couple of things. One is this is for you, and then I'm going to generalize it. One is making sure you have all the right tools, because there's tools that you're not utilizing yet. And we had this conversation earlier, that there's tools that you're not utilizing yet to their capacity. And so it's important to understand those tools. And it's also important to understand tagging on YouTube. So there's that component. If you don't have tagging on YouTube, your videos will not be monetized properly, because you're not getting the viewership that you need in order to qualify to get monetized. So there's that component. The other component is watching your words. And so this is the general message for you and for everybody else. If you're wanting something, do your words match your desire? Because if the words don't match the desire, then it's going to be hard for you to attract those things. And so, for example, for this, like I'm not making any money on my podcast. And I said, yet. So like, it was really important to add that. And so it's like, watch what you're saying throughout the day for the next several weeks and see how many times it goes against the desire, things that you're saying that go against the desire. So if like the desire is to be monetized, how many times are you like, this is really blank, or this is like, oh, I'm never going to do this, or whatever the thought is. Like literally write down the thought, so then you can make a list of like, oh, these are all the thoughts that have not served the desire. They're going against the desire, because we got to be a frequency match for what it is that we are co-creating with the universe. And so for you, write down those thoughts, because then what you can do is then you can write down a thought that actually serves the desire versus does a disservice to the desire.
That makes sense.
Okay. And so for anybody that's listening, like we're coming into the end of the year, we're coming up to the new year. This is a great time to look at what's working, what's not working, what have you done this year that you can celebrate. So there's that component.
Mm-hmm.
What are the desires that you want to continue to feed energy into, and why? And then do your words match your desire? Do your thoughts, do your actions match your desire? Because if they don't, this is where brutal honesty of, this is not a frequency match. I'm not a frequency match to this. And so it puts you back in the driver's seat and allows you to go, okay, I realize my words are not a frequency match to this. So example, you want to start a business. You saying, I never have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to this. I don't have time to wash my dishes. I don't have time. And like, you might not even be talking about the business, but you're constantly saying, I don't have time.
Yep.
You will not have time to start a business.
And you're putting up blockers that way.
Yes, because you're just feeding into the universe. Yep. Oh, let me give you one more thing so you don't have time to work on that.
Yeah.
And so the thing is where do your words, your deeds, your thoughts, your actions match your desires, and where do they do not? And then being brutally honest with yourself, and then coming up with, what is going to be a frequency match for that desire. Instead of saying I don't have time, you could go, I'm making time for myself today. Even if you don't even think you have the time to make for yourself today.
Just put it out
there. Time for myself today. I'm making time for my business today. I'm making time. I have an abundant amount of time. It's like you got to trick yourself into the frequency to receive those things. And it's amazing what will happen. It's like another, like, it's like, be careful what you wish for. So for example, it's like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Being tired all the time is like, you're just going to be tired. Or I need a day off. I need a day off. I need a day off. And instead of actually taking the day off, you manifest being sick.
Oh,
so it's like, what is the match for what it is that you want? And then matching your words and your thoughts to it. And then that will shift you out of it. And then making a clear list of the things that you have accomplished, what you're celebrating. It doesn't matter if you just made your bed for the day and that's what you're celebrating. Like celebration will move you into a higher frequency to receive those things. So I hope that's helpful.
It is. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And finally, Amy, quickly, what's one message the records have consistently shared with you, something that you feel humanity most needs to hear right now, if there is anything?
It's that you are in the driver's seat of your life. Don't let anybody else think that they are, or don't give the keys to anyone else. Like, you get to decide what your life looks like. And if it is not what you like, you get to decide and take action on changing it. And it's a simple thought that can assist you in taking the action. And the more that you put yourself in momentum, the easier it will. It's easier to stay in the momentum. And so whatever you got to do to trick yourself into momentum, do that. And it's 1%. 1%. So if your house is a mess and your 1% is cleaning up for 5 minutes, that's better than doing nothing. And that 5 minutes each day will change your landscape drastically over time. It might not feel like it, but you could get a lot done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can. Wow. Well, thank you so very much. Just quickly, can you tell the audience where they can find you?
Yeah, you could go to theamyrobeson.com. That's TheAmyRobeson.com. If you do /free, we have 20 plus free Akashic Record healings, meditations. We also have free master classes as well. So yeah, theamyrobeson.com, or you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, just type my name in, or Awakening with Amy Robeson, because we have a podcast as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. I did too. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. We'll talk in a minute. Thank you so very much to my very special guest, Amy Robeson, tonight, and to you, my wonderful audience, for tuning in. I also want to thank UPRN 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast for carrying the show. And if you enjoyed tonight's episode, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. It really does mean a lot to me. And if you'd like a little piece of Paranormal Heart podcast to call your own, you can grab some podcast swag. Good grief, I'm tripping over my tongue. Like a mug. So again, if you're watching the video, this is what the mugs look like. So just send me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. Even if you just want to say hello, tell me what's going on, or if you have any questions. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other, sending everyone listening here much love.